ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is the man, the myth, the legend himself, the man behind Master Black Ink Productions. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I gotta say, I've seen a lot of your work from the production side of things and your films behind and on screen with the camera. You've been doing a lot of great work and putting out that content, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm grinding.
The grind never stops, especially when it comes to content creation in the adult entertainment industry. So I kind of wanted to hop right into that because there's a lot really to discuss in today's forum. But I got to ask you, what kind of gravitated you towards doing adult work, the adult entertainment industry, and seeing a lot of what we get to see now from you?
Yeah, great question, man. I started out just doing photography. That's what I used to do photography with different aspiring models, Instagram type models, fashion models, lingerie, stuff like that. And some of the models I was coming in contact with at this point, I think this is probably like maybe about 2019, 2020. I was coming in contact with a lot of models who kind of were doing this new thing called OnlyFans. And before that, actually, it's coming to a few that did webcam, a few that did some of the other little streaming kind of things where you could pay-per-view type of things. And I hear them saying, "Hey, I'm making money here." And I'm like, and Patreon was another one. I'm like, what's this? This thing is kind of like it was a new phenomenon to me because I'm not a big social media kind of guy or online websites, internet type dude. But they said they were making money on it, and of course I wanted to check out some of the sexy stuff that they had on there and stuff. So I would go in there and kind of look and see. And I think around that time, I forget the celebrity chick that did it, where she was like one of the first ones that was claiming that she's making $1 million from it or something like that. If I could describe her, I wish I had the name up, but kind of like somebody who was into the anime thing and some of that other kind of stuff. And
you see a lot of them. It's one of those things too. To add on to your point, you see like a lot of celebrities not only get into it, but I remember like Zelina Vega from the WWE did like cosplay on it, like that stuff. Like a lot of people don't even realize. To add to your point, this is why I love that you brought this up, is because not only just the accumulation of money, but everybody always like analyzes, dissects, and deciphers it as like there's sexy and spicy content. But I think a lot of people don't realize like the community that this drives in, because there's a lot of people that are very unique and like different type of preferences. So there's something for everybody within the site.
Exactly. And at that same time, even though I was already, over 30 plus or whatever, and feel like I was pretty experienced in sex and stuff like that, looking into the content world and exploring these sites, I started seeing these different fetishes and these different things that, other people were doing. I joined FetLife, if you're familiar with that. It's a website where it basically caters to people trying to connect with people and, people who do different fetishes or into different fetishes and stuff. So all this is happening just a little pre-COVID. So then actually COVID happens, and I started exploring some of the other sites like Pornhub and stuff like that. And one of the biggest ones that caught my attention, because it was just really new to me and stuff I hadn't seen before, was dick drainers. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy and his platform and his videos, but if I could say that on YouTube. He specialized in the women content, the kind of more, he's the dom and the females are submissive, and he specified in that kind of content where the women are very submissive. He's kind of dominating the action, and rimming and milking, if you know any of those terms, and also of course BJ and some of the other ones. So I was really big fan, admire that, because it opened up a window to me too. I'm like, man, that's hot, that's exciting, stuff like that. And I said, you know what, I want to give this a try, and if I do, I want to stand out. I don't want to. What I saw was a lot of people, kind of just doing your same vanilla type of content, and boy girl stuff like that. So I figured I would give it a try. And the first thing was just kind of seeing how I looked on camera. Because I mean, of course, I don't know. Most people have video their ex, with a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, just made a home videos to see how they come and stuff like that, see how they come out. But it's another thing where you're kind of like the director, you're the actor or actress, and then you're directing and you're trying to capture certain angles and things like that. So, you basically become your own little porn producer and porn production. And that's exciting too, because you want to just like see how it comes out. And then that adds another element, because then you got to do some editing, because not everything's going to come out perfect. And then you may want to, edit out some of that in between time, trying to get into a different position or a different angle, or some talking, unnecessary, conversations that's not necessarily going to be entertaining to someone who came to watch some porn.
To your point, and here's what I love how you bring that up too. I always look at it like this: like we talk about the variety and everything. Like you mentioned, you don't want to put out the same vanilla content. It's like back in the day when you're watching Cinemax, like late at night, Skinemax, if you will. And then here comes a film with Nicole Sheridan and Widow, right? Like great husband and wife tandem, but it's like, all right, I've seen them. Like, how many times are we going to see them on films at like 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, give me something else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and that, just to piggyback off what you're saying, I was the same guy that was up watching that kind of stuff early on, younger in my life. And then, the scene that excited me even more was when the girlfriend came in and joined them.
Yep.
Or maybe in some of those scenes, I don't know if it's too advanced, but at some point, maybe there was 2 guys and the 1 girl. You know what I mean? So, I'm right there with you. I was sneaking watching that stuff. And then, after a while that became old, and then it's like, okay, what else do you got? Let's see something else, And
yeah. I mean, like my interest, like, and I'll throw it back to you, like the interest in the adult entertainment industry for me, like my first ever site that I remember watching as like a kid, like puberty wise, like teenage years, was like Girls Hunting Girls.com, which was 2 girls. They pick up the girl and then they go back to the house and have sex with them. Like, it's simplistic. It's a basic formula, but it's like, okay, I could go to Naughty America. I could go to this site, but at the end of the day, here's something else for you. Like, who doesn't love 3 beautiful women just having a sensual sex scene? Like, that stuff hits, it pops, so to speak, one's interest. And mind you, I love me some Naughty America. You could give me different type of variety of Naughty America, but it's like, expand the horizons, much as we should do in today's day and age, just keep expanding our horizons.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you say that, because that was also a part of my research before I started, and my mindset was I wanted like real life type of scenarios before the porn that kind of leads into the porn, where you got the knock at the door, it's the plumber, and then the housewife answers the door and like, I need my pipes fixed, and I'll take care of those pipes for you right now. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing with mine. I like to have lead-ins, and I have the title that kind of leads to that. So I always try to have some kind of background story or lead-in to the actual sex in the scenes. And my fans so far seem to like it and love it. And I continue to evolve as well, as I continue to try to see what the fans want, and then we'll also, come up with new ideas as well, so it doesn't get too routine.
Well, it's a storytelling business that a lot of people like really don't understand. Like, it's not the fact of just, okay, here's 2 people having sex on camera. It's like the storytelling, the lead in. Like, I can give an example, like Kinky Business with Ginger Lynn in the 80s. It's a porn parody of Risky Business, but you also want to heighten what you see. Like when you see Rebecca De Mornay and Tom Cruise making out on the flipping train, for God's sake, you want to heighten that and take it to another level, whether it's a shower scene or what have you. You want to see what you saw in popular culture, equate it to it, but heighten it up to the highest of volume, so to speak, and make it your own within the adult entertainment.
Exactly. And it's funny, as quite a throwback mention from the past, but I had the biggest crush on Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah,
I haven't
well,
heard
yeah.
I haven't heard that name since that time around sometime in the 80s, whatever that was. But yeah, I used to have a big crush on her because of that movie, because of that scene that you just mentioned. And I think she was in maybe one or two others.
Yeah, she was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which she played like a bitch in that. But man, she was fine as wine in that movie, boy.
That's crazy. I wonder where she is. We need to, where are they now, Rebecca De Mornay? She probably still looks good, hopefully.
Probably. Yeah. Now, I have to ask you as well, throughout your tenure thus far in the adult entertainment industry, who has been some of your favorite people to work with as far as content creation, some of your favorite scenes thus far within your tenure?
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. Right away, one of the hottest and pleasurable, because, and not to get, I'm going to answer your question, but I get too off track, but one of the difficult things is in the moment and in the scene is actually enjoying the scene as if it was just regular, your personal life. So there's a difference between like making content and, for me anyway, having sex and then, just having sex, but then making content, you're got to be constantly knowledgeable and of your camera, your angle, making sure that the video is running, because that happened to me before, where I've got this really hot scene going and, the girl, she's really performing, the scene's hot, we're connecting, and then realize that somehow the video didn't get running. It wasn't playing, because I do it on my camera and I do it on my phone. And, sometimes switching positions and stuff, you realize, you check and you're like, that's a good angle, whatever, but you forget to press the button, the most important thing. So as far as the enjoyable part of it, it's very difficult for me to just kind of relax in the moment and enjoy the sex because I've got so many things running through my mind. But it really helps when whoever you're performing with or the female you're performing with is just that good. Like whatever she's doing to you is just really good. And so you are still able to enjoy it. But right away, to answer your question, Temptress Queen 1, I want to shout her out. We haven't worked together in a little while, but my first year doing this, which I started back in March of 2023. So we're now going into almost, I guess, about a year and a half. But yep. Temptress Queen, also known as Brittany, real name Brittany. Shout out to Temptress Queen because she was my first really hot scene. And I would say at this point, she is still, but not by much, my top video sellers. All the folks really love her. And a lot of people want us to do some more scenes together. We did 2 scenes on 2 different days. And she was the hottest. I specialize in the rimming. And she's right into it. She's a pleaser, because that's important too. Like guys who's watching this, it's work with this. It's not just, hey, wham bam, just enjoy, thank you, ma'am, type of thing. It's really work, and it helps because you're performing. You're performing on camera. It's natural. It's still real, and it's amateurish, but it's also, like I said, because you have to be cognizant of, is this angle coming through? Is the lighting good? Is it getting her ass? Is it getting mine? You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you're trying to put out good, because I got guys that they want POV or they want really good lighting. So you're cognizant of your fans and trying to make sure that you're giving them what they want. But Temptress Queen 1, just hot all the way around. The sex was very good. The sex was amazing. Just really, really good. And then I want to shout someone else out. We no longer work together, but Nikki, she did fabulous. She was great. She's very much a pleaser. I mean, for my type of content, I need a woman that's a pleaser, submissive and pleaser. Because I feature the women in the scenes. They're basically just doing things to me for the most part, and so that has to come through. I think guys can see if it's genuine, if it's real, if it's natural. And so she's really got to be into pleasing you and being submissive and delivering on that rimming, delivering on that BJ, or taking it, I don't know what I could say on this YouTube, but taking it back doors and stuff like that. So yeah, Nikki. And then I'm just gonna be shouting everybody out. Miss Jinx, if you guys are on my page and on my platform and on my store, you know who Miss Jinx is. She's the teacher that I was having problems with my stepson. I mean, sorry, not my stepson, but my son. And she was, we did a scene based off her being a teacher. We also did, I think, a exotic dancer scene, and then my man Glory Hole scene. So I don't hope if I'm not rambling, but I want to make sure I cover everything. But what I do is I got a hole. You familiar with the Glory Hole? Well, we do kind of like a cutout amateur home version of that, and where I stick my bottom in that hole, or I stick, my front in that hole, and she just performed, but she was amazing. She, like really, really amazing. And then lastly, I want to shout out Deli the Pog. It's a college girl that I shot with. She was amazing as well. So yeah, just the extended version to answer your question, getting everything out there. But yeah, I really enjoyed all of those. And like I said, Nikki really, really performed. She killed it. Like, because that's another thing. Like I said, with the lead in, you kind of want to guide someone to the water, but you can't help them drink it. They've got to drink it. You know what I mean? Use that analogy.
And don't apologize for rambling, dude, because I think everyone that you work with, everyone's unique. And what we do, we have so many people that we get to work with that really has to go into the scene. I mean, look at the authenticity and genuinity that goes into it. To go on to your point, look, I'll make a pop culture reference. When you're watching Zach and Miri make a porno with Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, right? They're all making the porno to try to save the coffee shop, and everybody's just kind of doing it for sex. But Zach and Miri have that connection because they're roommates. They've known each other for such a long time. But there's that underlying sexual tension that they have with each other because their comfortability, and deep down right here, they like each other. So it comes off perfect on camera. And then we get to see what happens afterwards and how it leads into a relationship that tells the story of that film. So if you can have that authenticity in really anything that you do, people don't realize how much important that is. And you mean the lighting. I look at it from a wrestling side of things. Being a wrestling fan, you see what you get to see on TV. You see the WWE. But when you're at your local indies, your independent circuit, you want to make sure that mic works. You want to make sure the lighting is there. I mean, sure, maybe for a small amount of people, a couple hundred people would have you in some little like community center, where have you. But it doesn't matter, because wherever you're performing, you want to make sure everything's on point, everything's on key. So you have to have that, because you're evoking emotions, you're eliciting reaction. And that goes a long way with what you're doing. It's all about presentation.
Absolutely, bro. And you nailed it. And because you're still performing,
right?
You're having sex, you're doing all these kinky things or whatever, but you're still performing, because you have to be cognizant of the camera, and you got to be cognizant of your audience.
1000%. Now, I look at it from a stance like this. We look at the world of adult content creation. There's so many different ways that we look at it from the adult entertainment industry. There's adult content, there's sex escorts, there's camming. There's so many different variations. I want to ask you the importance of it all, because there is differences to everything that makes it so meticulous, that makes it so the key components of what you're trying to convey with the different genres and categories. Can you explain to us like the many differences and the differentiates between works like sex work, escorting, camming? Because they're similar, there's differentiations as well, but there's so many things that are kind of very cognizant to each and every one of them.
Great question, Mike. And I'll answer it this way, in two ways. There's nothing different, and then I'll tell you what I think is different. This is just from my vantage point and my point of view. What's not different is that, most of these women are looking for supplemental sources of income. Heck, if they could do it, they'd like to do it, as careers. If it's gonna, pay the lights, keep the lights on, pay the rent, pay the car note, the insurance, whatever essential. Or if you get to a point where, hey, you're making six figures and you're like, hey, I can do this and I don't have a college degree or bachelor's or whatever. Or even if you do, maybe I wouldn't be able to go out and make this kind of money out on the, working a 9 to 5. So in that essence is most of the folks, most of the women that I meet or that I observe, they're doing this just for income. What's not different, and I hope I said it how I want to say it, but what's not different is that it's all for sex. It's all sex. And I think a lot of these women realize at some point or on, they love sex.
Right.
Everyone loves sex. But when you can get paid for something that you like doing, that's just like being a wrestler, a football player, basketball player, whatever. Now, as far as the difference between escorts and content workers, I've found that a lot of escorts, they want to be discreet. They want to make their money, but they don't necessarily want to put it on display for people to purchase it and consume it and everything like that. So the funny thing is, at times I have delved into looking into, or some of the content workers, they are escorts as well. But I run into something where a lot of escorts, they don't want to be filmed. They don't want to do content, or they'll do content, but then keep that separate from what they do with the escorts. So to answer your question, to be in all grand scheme of things, I don't think there's any difference. It's just that what I find is that a lot of times the escorts are more, they're even more money driven, because you can find some content workers who are fine with just doing collabs. With escorts, everything's about money, and then you can get some where they've been fortunate enough to command a certain, rate or whatever. So they have a higher level of expectation, I guess we would call them high-end escorts. but but they seem to be a little bit more shrewd and just really about the money. I guess they meet and talk to so many different guys. So they seem to be a little more standoffish, a little more whatever. But I love my female content creators. I'll shout out to everyone who's out here just making great content, who's still humble and professional and nice, and who enjoy what they do and not ashamed of what they do.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you look at it from the escort side of things, and my father has always taught this and instilled this into me. Everything in life is a business, including even the collabs as well. When it comes to escorts and making that money, I agree on the fact that they can be very shrewd. And I mean, it's a line of work. It's a business. It's like when you go to a strip club, it's like, hey, there are women dancing on there, but also it's a business. This is how they make their money, their tips and everything. And I mean, people will turn their nose up at things, but I look at it from a stance too as well. That person's making money. They're not harming themselves or they're not harming anybody. Let them do their thing, man. It's a sensual side of things, but also at the end of the day, it's a show. And I mentioned the presentation. My big thing in life is it's being the best representation of your presentation. You represent yourself well, you present yourself well, and that's where the progression and succession goes. And I look at it from a stance like this. When you talk about the collabs and stuff, you realize, and especially in today's day and age, not only the content that's being put out, but the exposure and the rapport you could put out with being with people just because of the fact that you have that right professionalism and people want to continue to keep working with you. That is so key that a lot of people don't even realize in that moment that could lead to this, this, and this. So you're constantly stocking yourself up within your brand and your overall position of who you are and what you're about that makes people want to have more content and have more of you in their scenes. So there's a lot of takeaways that you could get from that.
Absolutely. And that's very important, Mike, I'm glad you touched on it. Networking, and that's one of the things that's coming up. I'm going to be going to the convention here in DC Exotica. It's very important that you network. We're all in this. like I was saying, we're all sex workers, whether it be escorts, content, what have you, creators, what have you. And, it just like any good business, you always want to network. You always want to meet good people, and hopefully you can do business with them. I think that's another gray area or tricky thing where not everyone is business people. Not everyone's a business person, so they're not seeing and understanding the importance of branding or networking or doing a collab and necessarily not getting that, getting paid for it. But what you're getting is quality product or content that's going to sell in perpetuity. It's residual money. And as long as you have that content and you have platforms that use to post it and have it advertised for sale, then you can sell that content in perpetuity. And a lot of people, a lot of females sometimes don't understand it. They don't see that because they're so used to, that seeing that value or that guy earned that right away. Like, you took me to dinner, movie, took me shopping, whatever other things that guys do to try to court a woman or to try to get to the point of having sex. And women equate in their mind, okay, you've done enough. You've earned the goodies. Here you go. You got it. But with the business part of it, and I'm glad you said that, because some of the women, they have that personal thing that they would do with a guy when they first meet him. And it's like, okay, this guy's got to earn this. But if you're just shooting content and you're doing this as a business, then it's, you can't bring your personal, how you would do it, into it. And business is business, of course, and cliche, personal is personal. So that is the toughest thing, is sometimes is running to female content creators who don't see the business side of it or see the upside of, okay, we're making great content. Someone like myself who has I'm coming up on 16,000 followers on Twitter. I've got 500,000 views on Pornhub. I've got almost 2K subscribers on my mini-vid store. So all of these are fans and people and potential fans that can purchase your content or cross over to your content because they've been made aware of you because they've seen you've done content with me. And then you're promoted on my page, which I try to promote anyone I shoot with. They continue our relationship, and it's a good business on both sides. I'm going to promote you in perpetuity. So it's great that you touched on that about the business side of it. Because unfortunately, that's one of the downsides, is that just because someone's a content creator doesn't mean that they're a business-minded person.
I always look at it like this. The two things I always say is A and C, and what A and C is accommodation and comfortability. You have to accommodate people, make them feel comfortable. Also, at the same time, like you mentioned, to get the goodies, not my goodies, to quote Sierra and Petey Pablo. I look at it from a stance like this. When you're going into
Shout
dating,
out to Petey Pablo.
Shout out to Petey Pablo. North Carolina, come on and raise up. We go freaking leave. But that's the thing too, man. It's just because, I understand the personal side, like you're going on a date with somebody and then you get to the sex side, but you also have to look at it from this. You could start out personal, but I'm like, again, like it's a business. You're acting right now. I understand that you want that connection, but the connection is also on camera. Like, we're acting, we're doing these parts, bing, bang, boom. Let's have that connection. Let's show that. Let's evoke emotions for people to invest in this. You're investing in yourself, but we're also investing in the scene. The important investment that you put out there, not only is it positively proactive, but you're putting stuff into manifesting to the universe and your energy into everything that you do. And I look at it like this, like with any type of content, I'm going to ask you on a follow-up on this. We always have the blooper reel, and there's always some funny and entertaining stuff that does go down. So I wanted to ask you about that too, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it on the blooper side of things. Some funny stuff, man. So let's talk about the comedy side of this, because oh my goodness gracious, there's a lot that goes into the blooper reel, man.
Yeah. You know what? You just gave me an idea I never thought about. But maybe I should put a video of the outtakes of the bloopers and stuff like that, and see if that sells. But yeah, so you're asking about some of the bloopers and stuff that happens when shooting content. Yeah. So I went away. that comes to mind. I won't say who or what have you, but I was doing a backdoor scene, and I guess can we say anal? I think we say
Yeah,
anal, right? Yeah.
anal.
Okay. Yeah, I was doing an anal scene, and you know, it's hot and heavy. Stuff's really hot and exciting. We'd already done different positions, different things, and so now we're doing the anal scene. And actually, I think I'm doing, if I was correct, I think I was in a position of a side. We're just both laying on our sides doing an anal scene like that, and it's feeling really good. Back there, nice, hot and tight, and stuff like that, hot and tight and right. And I just start getting this god awful smell that I'd never smelled in my life before.
Oh,
Yeah, and because I want to be totally transparent, that's one of the things that popped in my mind right away. And it turns out, which that's another fetish. Saying someone else might have. I don't have it personally, but it turns out that the person was having a little accident back there while we were
defecation.
yeah, a little
That.
to put candidly.
Yes.
And it interrupted the scene. I had to stop or what have you. But and they apologized, whatever. But it was totally unexpected, and this may have happened to everyone if you ever play around backdoor. But yeah, just come off right off my head. That's one of the funniest things that that happened, because like they were amateur. I think some of the professional women know to maybe prep beforehand back there. Maybe you do something the night before, kind of do a cleansing or enema or something along those lines. I know in the back in the days they used to definitely do like an enema thing or whatever. But you got all kinds of cleansing things now you can do, stuff like that. But yeah, and but it's too bad that I cut the scene and deleted, because I kept running.
Yeah.
That's a fetish. That's some content I might could have sold on scat.com somewhere.
Yeah, and that's too. It's funny you bring that up, because I mean, we always think about the kinks, like we mentioned here, and the fetishes. Like there are people that like scat. Not my thing. I mean, back in the day, we had 2 girls, 1 cup. A lot of people like 2 girls, 1 cup. And hey, if that's yes, exactly. And if people like that, that's cool. I don't judge, but I look at it from a stance too, like this. And I've interviewed a lot of adult entertainers, whether it be no matter what position they are in their career with content creation. That's one of the big things. I'm also glad you brought up that point. A lot of people talking about how important, when you're going to any scene, especially a particular anal scene, the importance of enemas and cleansing so that stuff doesn't happen. I mean, I always say this. It's the 2 S's. I think you could concur with me on this. It's safe and spectacular. Do everything safe and in a spectacular fashion. And I think that's what a lot of people need to take away. Like a lot of people just think, oh, anal or this and that. I'm like, no, there's prep work and there's ways to make it safe and spectacular so everybody involved can have a good experience.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's really important when both people are tested and share their tests, it also makes for the comfortability, which I think you used that word a few times.
Yeah.
Comfortability is everything with women. Women have to be comfortable. If they're comfortable and they're turned on, it's going to make for an amazing scene. So one of the important things of being comfortable is just knowing that, hey, this person's tested, I'm tested, we both got clean tests. So it makes for a comfortability on both sides, because I'm a person that's very conscious about that as well, because you don't want to be any kind of limbo where you're like, I think as guys, we've all been there. Maybe met some girl at the bar, you take her home, you have you, and you're like, I got any condoms? You're like, yeah, it's like, should I? She doesn't look like, well, she did go home with me, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you're doing content, you don't want that. Yeah, I know, from both sides. You don't want that uncertainty. You want that comfortability. Okay, this person's good to go. I'm good to go. Let's have some amazing sex. Some raw. You know what I mean?
I feel
Yeah.
you. It's raw and passion. I think that's what I always love about it, not just the overall natural feeling and the natural high, both on screen and off screen. But what I always do appreciate too, as well, is, and I'm going to say this about you. I mean, there's so many different types, and I'm going to ask you about the cuckold side of things because there is that cuckold vibe that goes into it. Can you talk about the cuckold experience? Because there's a lot of stuff like we mentioned, like there's so many things with BDSM and being, the simp and being the dominator or anything in particular types of sex and overall positions and preferences. But talk about the cuckold side of things too, because that only is a very big marketing category in its own right.
You're funny. That's funny you should mention that. That was totally new for me, totally different for me. I've actually only done one cuckold, and that was with Temptress, Brittany. I mentioned her earlier.
Mhm.
So when we were first getting it together, because you have to have that communication. We're having communication. She's like, my husband's, we can shoot and what have you, but my husband's gonna have to be there. I'm like, husband, you know? And she said, no, he's totally cool. He'll even have to help out as a cameraman, and stuff like this and everything like that. It's part of our lifestyle. We're a stag couple, slash, I guess, cuckold swinger, the whole thing couple. So I'm like, this, like I said, she was one of my first few scenes. I think maybe my second scene. And, I was like totally oblivious to this. She's like, your husband wants you to watch you perform sex acts on me and have sex. Because a lot of people think that probably because what I do, whatever. And this is the funny side of things, but people think that because you make this content, you're constantly living this life, this rock star life where you're just having sex with any woman you want all the time. You're just having sex, and you're living a life of some of these things that you put the content out for. But no, a lot of this is just really connecting with someone, like you said, who wants to do is, sometimes they're fans of yours, or sometimes you're fans of theirs. Initially, you reach out, you say, hey, you want to shoot, you want to do a collab, blah, blah, blah. But so back to the cuckold part of things, she just describing this to me. They actually, when we shot, they had to come down where I'm at. I'm in Virginia, and they were coming from where they were. I don't know if she necessarily want to disclose where she lives, but they had to come down a few hours. And so, we got the hotel and we met up, and it's just that awkward thing uh, where I'm meeting her husband and her for the first time. We actually met in the hotel parking lot, and I don't know. You're a guy. I'm a guy. I know you do wrestling too, but it's like that macho thing. When you first meet guys, you do that handshake.
Oh yeah, like like the stiffen of the handshake. Like I'm going to shake your hand hard because I'm a man. This is how we do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man. I'm macho. How you doing? And you give him that firm handshake. What's going on, brother?
You might as well arm wrestle. His hand is like it's like you're gonna apply pressure with the squeeze of the hand. It's kind of like you feel the pressure from them, and you kind of let them know you can give some pressure with yours, a good firm handshake. So you're both doing that firm handshake thing. And so it took a little while for both of us to kind of feel each other out. But I initially started saying he was cool and stuff like that. And so we went back to the room. We talked about, what I wanted to get in the scene, which I really totally appreciated. Because, with me, I have a design of what I'm trying to get in a scene. And like I said, I specialize in the women throat goats. I call them throat savages, which is just women that are really good at excellent oral skills and BJ. And so that was what I wanted to capture. And then, of course, regular sex and some other fetishes. So we get into it. I don't know what to expect. And also, I'm most important, very important fact for me. I'm not used to being naked around other dudes.
Oh, I mean, I bet. Well, that's the thing. I'm going to add to your part too, because here I'll add the funny part to it as well. Since you did bring up wrestling before, and like I said, I love what I do, and I've interviewed people of all facets of life. That is probably one of the stupidest things I've learned from being around professional wrestling. It's a stupid rule in my eye and a lot of theirs. Like we mentioned, how we're men and we shake men's hand hard and firm because that's how we're taught. Eye contact, shake a person's hand like your father, like a father figure, shake a man's hands hard and whatnot, and be respectful. It's like in wrestling, it's like the opposite because it means if you shake their hands hard, that means you're stiff in the ring and you could possibly hurt them. So you want to give them like the limp handshake, which I'm like that. Like if you look at it from a perspective in life, it's like you want to be that proper shake your hand hard and whatnot. You're very stern and whatnot from a man's type of thing. But it's like in wrestling, like it means like that means you're stiff in the ring and you could possibly hurt them. So everybody does like the limp handshake when they meet them, and I'm like that's so stupid because it's like that means you're safe in the ring. And there's so many different like wrestling languages there, which I mean, as a man, yes, but I guess it's just like, hey man, like if you shake their hands hard, that means you're stiff in the ring. It's kind of like back ass backwards, but if I can understand from like, I guess how they work in the ring. But anyway, yeah, that's a sidebar. But the side of things is too, I want to add to your part is like, that's the thing that people don't take it to like counter. It's just like I'm naked around another man, and it's like I'm mostly working with a lot of women, and now here's another naked man, and here's another genitalia in front of my face. It's like, all right, this is a new experience. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of like, this is new. How do I work around this?
Well, luckily he was not naked.
Okay,
I was naked, but he wasn't.
Right.
but also, like for me, also just to double back,
yeah,
the jealousy part. Because I mean, I'm like, what if this guy starts freaking out or something? It's like you're with my wife right now, like you know what I mean. And not to mention, it's an interracial scene.
yes.
And for all my folks who haven't seen my content, majority of the content I do is interracial as well. So, there's that aspect. Because this was maybe if this was 1950s, something. We are in the South. So I'm in the South, and so it's like, okay, I don't know, like, what if this guy just starts freaking out all of a sudden? Like, what are you doing to my wife? Right. So that once we got over that, what's even better is we started out with a ribbon scene. So she's starting out going to town in my back doors, So I had my back to this guy, so I'm just hopefully, I'm going on, just because we kind of, we talked about it, and for my viewers and anyone else or novice people, totally clean, shower first, baby wipes, we do a whole, thing here. Yeah, just totally good hygiene, whatever. And so we start into it. And she, to her credit, helped me forget about him because she just was so amazing. And it just was like the feeling was so great. After a while, I forgot the guy was there. You know what I'm saying? Until every now and then I would see him moving around, getting better angles and stuff like that. I totally got lost in, what she was doing because she was so amazing. She was so amazing. Once again, shout out to Tipper's Queen One, Brittany. You can see her on my platforms, and I'm sure you can see her on hers as well. So that was totally odd for me. Then we went into other stuff. She did BJ, amazing. We did anal. We did pretty much everything there. And we shot 2 scenes that day, and then we shot 2 more scenes another day. So that Cuckold experience was amazing. I'm open to some more. But once again, with this content thing, you can find plenty of swingers, plenty static couples and stuff like that. But not everyone wants to do content or wants, a lot of these people are very private. They're very secretive in their lives and stuff like that. So they don't even want their faces shown or anything shown and stuff like that. And then another important thing for me is also, I don't like to just work with content creators, but I like to work with serious people who are really trying to build a business, a brand, a platform, because I want to cross promote. I want to promote them. I want them to promote me. It's just like when, you know, I just off the top of my head, Nelly and what's the country singer he did like,
Oh,
and I'm
Tim
going
McGraw.
back with this, Tim McGraw. So now it's a great collaboration because now maybe you open up Tim McGraw fans to Nelly. Nelly opens up some fans who never maybe entertained country before, but like, man, I like this Tim McGraw guy. And they start checking out some Tim McGraw stuff and purchasing some Tim McGraw stuff. So it's like, that's the kind of collab I like, a true collab where both parties are benefiting. I just saw this on Shark Tank, but this doesn't necessarily apply. But they said the good business is when both a good business deal when both parties are a little uncomfortable with the deal. But but just to double back what I was saying is a great collab for me is when both are benefiting from it, and it's an opportunity for cross promotion where I could bring in some new subscribers and fans to your brand and your base, and you could bring some from your fan base to mine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Cross promotion is so key. And like you mentioned, I'll make another music reference. Like we mentioned Nelly and Tim McGraw over and over again. Nelly and Florida Georgia Line when they did Cruise. I'll make another example. Kid Rock. Like when Kid Rock was first starting out, we had the Bob with the Ba. We had Only God Knows Why. We had American Badass. But then throughout like the first or second year in his career, this man's doing a song called Picture with Sheryl Crow. You bring in Sheryl Crow, who's another multi-award-winning artist, and Sheryl Crow was very big, and you put her on a song with Kid Rock, and they had one of their biggest hits with Picture. So if you could have a Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow, you could do any type of vibes within the adult entertainment industry and cross-promotion because it's so key with networking.
Absolutely. And that's how you continue to grow your business and brand, because you're opening yourself up to all kinds of markets and other fans and things that you may not have access to, that someone else can bring you to, bring to you or whatever. And that's what I do with people. Like I said, is my brand and my pattern. And, at this point it's self-proclaimed, but I don't see anyone doing it. And I've gotten so many compliments and so many positive feedback. No, because I'm the Rim King. And why I say that is, I think I bring a great element of amateur with a little bit of almost a tidbit, a taste of Hollywood big time production, but also still amateur, but also just I really, with different angles, different concepts, different lead-ins to rimming. And, I don't see anyone putting it out and churning it out like I am on the level that I am, and with really understanding my fans and what they see, because they help me. I listen to my fans and I go and I try to produce that and take it to different levels and stuff like that. But I am the Rim King, Master Black King. I don't think I challenge you to find any better milking, rimming content out there. You know what I'm saying? I am the Rim King.
And plus, you have the royalty to it. The only one Rim King. You got the king. As us men, we should all feel like we're kings. As all women should feel like you know what I'm saying? So you have the royal little flavor to it, if you will, which is sweet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Check out, if you're into rimming or you thought about it or you're just curious about it, check it out. Master Black King. I am the Rim King. Also, milking, which involves a little HJ and then BJ and stuff like that. So if you're not necessarily a big fan of rimming, we get some variations of that with BJ, HJ, along with the rimming, or just exclusively HJ and BJ. So that's what I'm expanding to. And, just regular BGG. I got some new exciting things coming up in the next few months. Are coming into 2025. I'm going to be shooting with some new people. I'm going to be doing a little more HJ. I'm going to be doing a little bit more double bang. I've got a double bang scene coming with me and another guy and one girl. We're going to have some boy-girl, which is BGG, which is self-explanatory, me and two girls. So some really exciting stuff is going to be coming up. I'm going to be at DC Exotica, as I mentioned. next month on was it December 6th through the 8th, I think it is.
Number 6, the 8th.
Yeah, thanks, man. And so, yeah, and I'm hoping to do some connect with some folks out there, some hot content there. So, yeah, but just continue to look for the Rim King. I'm growing this to where I'm almost ready to quit my day job.
All right. Now, I will say this before we do close this out, and I definitely want to have you on for a part 2 to discuss Exotica and your experience afterwards. It's really been a blast picking your brain.
Got it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to let you know we can definitely do that part 2, and I hope to have a lot of exciting new things to share after that.
Don't apologize for interrupting. I appreciate you, man. You've been doing a lot of great work, and I can't wait to see where your journey takes you from here on out. I got to say this to you as well, Mr. Master Black Kink. A funny part I wanted to add on to your cuckold thing, because this actually talks about when we're teenagers and we experience these sites as we really get older and really start to enjoy the adult side of things and the pornographic nature. There was actually a site back in the day, I don't know if it's still up, and I urge listeners and even yourself, if you want to take a look, probably one of the earliest signs of a cuckold website was called pleasebangmywife.com, which was similar to what you described. And you're seen as just the guy looking off and just the girl, his wife is, getting a dicking, so to speak, having sex. So yes, that was probably one of the earliest memories. As soon as you were telling that story, my mind literally went back to pleasebangmywife.com. So
I remember that. I remember that. Right. It's funny, not to touch too much, but some of my earliest thing before you get so much access to amateur porn, and because I think it's more folks want to see amateur porn than big studio production as much, to where the big studio production is now trying to emulate and give the imagery of amateur porn and some of the things that when it's still big production porn, but just sneaking on, trying to see the little clips you could see for 10 seconds or 20 seconds on some of these little websites, and some of them escape my mind now, but I think it was a rude.com, if you're familiar with that. Some of these other little sites where you had to sneak on that. So it's just to see the evolution. And now also when you watch porn, you grow up like I did, and I don't think a lot of people did, to where you, and then any guys who want to get into content creating or females, you can do it. It's just like your business. If you started your own, trading cards or Pokemon cards or whatever business, selling Pokemon cards, whatever, it's your baby, and you control it, you create it, and then hopefully you grow in it and you learn how to become successful at it and lucrative and financially beneficial from it. Like I mentioned, not to get into things, and I didn't know if you would ask some of those questions, but I'm at the point where I'm making a good amount from it. Like I said, where I do it pretty much full time, and like a white collar job, and I'm continuing to grow it and grow it and grow it to where it's like, okay, I can retire. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So my next goal is to move out to a bigger market, like a Vegas or maybe Los Angeles. I'm trying to debate, or I've looked at some possible cities in Florida, but Vegas is number one on my list, because that's important as well. Because you got to have new content. Your fans, once they've seen that content, they want to see the next chick. They want to see the next actress. They want to see new content. And so being in a good market where there's a lot of serious-minded content creators is very important, because you want to be able to work with good talent, a lot of talent, and serious, consistent talent, because that's important as well. Because sometimes you can get a lot of flaky folks who will waste your time. So it's important. And if you want to get into this business, I think that start out part-time and then grow it and see where it goes.
Beautifully and eloquently said, my friend. And I mean, to add on to your point, when you look at Las Vegas, not only the fight capital world, probably one of the best for the adult entertainment side of things, the importance of branching out in different markets, east side, west side. There's so many different levels to this. Like you mentioned, there's layers and levels, to use the two L words, layers and levels to everything that you do in life. It's up to you to get it to here, man. You start, just take the journey. And we mentioned earlier in the show, take the journey because the journey is worth taking. And you mentioned the journey and talk about different markets before I have you plug the social medias. Dream content creator to work with, and who's on your bucket list, man? Because we got a lot of great content creators out there. Who's someone that you're eyeing, who you're kind of like scouting, so to speak, from a dream side of things, for a dream content creator?
Great question. Zaya Knight out in Los Angeles. Trying to plan a trip. I want to get out there. I would love to work with her. She's an Asian American female, Filipino, I believe. I want to work with her. Also, kind of changed her name, but I've been wanting for the rimming and the milking because she's one of the ones that really gets me excited, and I love her content. I don't know if you're familiar with how well versed you are, but Strawberry. She also goes by Strawberry Lulu. She's with Nasty Media. She is she is a beast with that rimming and milking. Like, she is a beast. And I watch her vids all the time, and I'm like, man, me and her would be perfect together. I would love to work with her. And also, let's see who else. There is this girl that goes by Juicy Queen. Juicy Queen, if I'm saying it correct, Juicy Queen. I've seen her. And then anybody else that just got a really good platform that takes this seriously. And when I say platform, just somebody who takes it seriously about putting out the content, listening to their fans, and then, working with other male creators to try to get a good product out there. And it's important for them. They take this as a business. It's just important for me to work with serious-minded people because the sex part is easy, for the most part. I mean, you have sex, but just someone who has a business mind as far as trying to deliver it on camera, then also promoting that, and then we doing good business is promoting each other.
I love that, man. Professionalism is key. And folks, I will say this, not only is knowledge power, professionalism is key. And as I always say with this show, and I think you'll appreciate this quote as well, life is an art form. We're all applying our crafts. Continue to apply your craft in amazing fashion, ladies and gentlemen, because you are the artiste. Paint that motherfucking canvas. I'll put it bluntly, paint that motherfucking canvas. So
Big facts.
Yes, man. So before we close this out, brother, in our outro, as we always do, the platform is yours. Let us know where we can find you on the socials. Do your thing. Go ahead. Say it. Where can we follow you?
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. And before I do that, I want to say a special shout out to you, man. I know you cover wrestling. I know you cover the lingerie. I think it's the lingerie football or lingerie
championships in Vegas. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then you've given a platform for creators like myself, mostly female, but I'm first male, but I'm sure I won't be the last, that can come out here and just kind of let folks know we're out here, but also give them a peek inside of, what it is and what it takes to get into business and some of the things they can expect in the business. And, I think that's very important, just having that platform of information, that channel information, like I said, you do for wrestling and you do for this. I just want to thank you for that and giving me the opportunity to come on your platform.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. And I mean, I think in this business, or like it's a business, any type of facet of life that you want to cover, and whether you're multifaceted, you want to provide a variety, not only do your research and prep for this, but also at the same time realize, like, you're not, like we mentioned today's show, evoking emotions, eliciting reaction. You're given that platform, and it builds to relationships and connections. So, I mean, I thank you, man, because there's a lot of great people out here grinding and really hard working. So the feeling is mutual and it's reciprocated, my dude. Let us know if we can find you on the socials. That really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah, man, absolutely. Just like it says in the shouldn't be in that little bar I'm looking at, Master Black Kink Production. I'm on everything, Twitter, Instagram, What do we got? Twitter, Instagram, P-Hub, mini vids. That's where you can purchase all of my content, see some of the women that I mentioned, and also check out their platforms as well, like I said. Just look for more. I'm going to be doing more, offering content on more sites as I see that the better ones that are out there. But just Google me. You Google that, Master Black Kink Productions, and a few of those things should come up, especially the mini vids, which is important, where you can purchase the content. And just support it. If you like it, I take suggestions as well. We got some ideas, custom type requests and stuff like that. As long as it's not killing or stealing and hurting small children or old people, I might try it. You know what I'm saying?
I like that, and absolutely. Just continue to be safe and spectacular and keep doing your thing, man, and applying your craft in amazing fashion like we mentioned, but also as well, not only will this be all his links will be in the description. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to this one over here, the Black Kink House podcast, doing your thing on your side of things. The link to your YouTube will be in the description so everybody can check out what you got going on. And like we say, man, support content creators and just support one another. Be united, not divided, and keep on keeping on in this thing world that we have. So for Master Black Kink, my name is Mike Larkin. This is another edition of On the Mic with Mike wrapped up. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
I live to make you laugh every day and night. Anything to get a glimpse of those pearly whites, the sparkle in your eyes when your lips spin up. Let me see those dimples, I can never get enough. I try and try, but I'm undone. You're my favorite drug. It's always the same, like a shot to my heart again. It's inevitable, a chain reaction I can't control. You hit me all up in my feel-goods when I see that smile. Yeah, those butterflies get loose inside and it drives me wild. Sunny days, they ain't got nothing on the way you shine. You hit me all up in my feel-goods and it feels so right. You're a work of art, like a diamond in the rough. Ain't no competition, baby, you're the only one. I admit that I'm stuck, like honey, I'm buzzed. So sweet is the feeling and I can't escape the rush. I try and try, but I'm undone. You're my favorite drug.